The bog witch lives.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Guess who's back? I'm finally back on the MadMiners server after being away for a few weeks. I'm dealing with in real life stuff, but I don't want to really bog down too much on that. And get right into the meat and potatoes of the episode, which is botany and building little houses on the hillside. Also, I finally put in an auto storage system for most of my blocks, so yay, I have that as well. But yeah, let's get into it. So if you watched any of my episodes from last season, I did do a short little bee episode where I built a little bit of a custom tree in my underground workshop area in my last swamp. I'm going to try my hand at building an actual full-size custom tree here, and then putting maybe some little accents and stuff around it. But yeah, I wanted to get some greenery back in here, because as you can see, I've cut down most of the naturally generated trees in the surrounding area, and all I've got is my tree farm over there. So I figured on top of building some buildings, I figured we'd do some botany and put some trees in, or put a tree in, just to see how well I do. I'm a little anxious about it that I might not do a very good job. Do you look at that sucker? Honestly, I don't even know if it looks like anything interesting or not, or what, but... Oh, we're getting there. I kind of tinkered around with this for about 20 minutes, and I think it kind of looks like a tree. Maybe a little bit. A very bare tree, because there's no leaves or anything on it. I think it works. I think it'll look even better once we get all the leaves and all the nonsense on it. I'm super happy with how this is turning out. It's the first time I've done a full-size custom tree, and it's the first time I've ever tried to do a tree like this that kind of looks organic with like different size branches and different variations in length. But yeah, I'm gonna start laying stacks of leaves around this, and once I have something that looks a little prettier, we'll touch base a little bit, and then we'll add the final touches together and get started on some other fun stuff. Alrighty folks, so it's about 15-20ish minutes later, and we have a custom tree that I don't feel completely sad and horrible about. It looks pretty awesome. I need to get a spore blossom from one of my server mates, if any of them have one. I'm gonna put the word out and see if I can get my hands on one for this here tree. I just kind of wanted to show it off at night a little bit, because I have it lit up a little bit. But yeah, I'm super proud of how this tree came out. This is definitely a heck of a lot bigger and a heck of a lot more grander than the other one was by a long shot. We're gonna add a little touch here. You know what? I think we're gonna move this back. I did have this all set up and ready to go, but I think we're gonna move it back a little. Oh yeah, yep, this will be way better. Little silent building with Sophie. I get so into the zone sometimes. It's why I do most of my building off camera, because I don't think anyone wants to sit here in absolute silence while I build. Maybe they do. Yeah, here we are. Our little seating area with our little campfire here near our big custom tree. But you'll notice it's far enough away that we're within compliance of fire regulations. We're not going to be catching this tree on fire. And luckily, fire tick is off on the server, so I wouldn't have to worry about that anyways. But yeah, I love doing little campfire, little camping areas like this. I think it goes great with this tree here. And then what we're going to build over here. We're going to just keep rocking and rolling, and I'm going to go to the next area. Alrighty, everybody. So I really do hope that you appreciated that little custom, well, I guess it's not very little, but that custom tree that we did down there in that little camping area, which we'll finish up later on in this episode. But I really wanted to get our first time lapse going. And I figured the perfect place to start would be at the very tippy top of this little hill and do our first little building here. So I really hope you enjoy the time lapse, and I will see you folks in a couple of minutes. Alrighty, folks, so I hope you enjoyed that little time lapse we did. This took me about 30 minutes to build, boiled down to about 38 seconds, I think, for the time lapse. I did do some decorating. We've got a little farm and some wheat and stuff back there for the animals. We've got some different animals here in the pen. I've added some coarse dirt, and some path blocks, and some coarse dirt and some podzol in the back because I noticed all the animals like to congregate back here for whatever reason. They do move. They'll like shift and they'll be up here near the front for a while. I've got some plants out here. Let's take a look at the inside quick. Not much going on in here. I am keeping it pretty basic, and there's no bed in here, but I did put a little space up here for a bed, which I thought would be pretty neat. You can put it right there, and you'd have walk-up access to your storage. These redstone lamps only turn on at night, and you'll notice I've still got some building blocks here in my hand. I thought to finish out the building, we would actually put on the, go outside. I figured we would put the, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a huge blank on what the heck it's called. The chimney. So I figured we would put the chimney on together. Brick block here, there. The whole key with making a decent looking fireplace is you kind of want to bulk it out a little bit on the outside. Right? Help if I use the right tool. Yep, perfect. Let's take a fly then. I think that looks pretty decent. Not too overbearing. Here's what we'll go. It is looking a little bulky on the bottom, and then it looks like it flattens out a bit. So. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go. That looks like a fireplace. That looks like a proper chimney to me. I think it fits this little house pretty well, too. Really proud of how this turned out. I should probably just shut up and stop talking about how proud I am. But I really do like how this turned out. I think the chimney definitely caps it. The interior, yeah, it's a little plain. But, you could conceivably see this as someone's base, or conceivably see this as a place where maybe a farmer lives, or maybe it's a toolsmith or something lives in this building. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna take a small little supply, and we're actually just gonna crack on to the next building, and we're gonna do another time lapse, because like I said, we're building little houses here on the hillside. So I'm really hoping that you folks are digging it, and be right back with you. So, you remember how I said I was gonna do a time lapse? Well, I thought I had started the recording and had everything set up right, and then all of a sudden my second thing turned off, and then all of a sudden I realized it wasn't recording at all, or I lost the recording or something. So unfortunately I don't have the time lapse of me building this house, but I figured at the very least we can still talk about it. I can still show it off to you folks a little bit. Obviously it's a little bit different than our little salt box house here up on the hill with our animals and our little farm place. This one is a 2-story house. Go inside. I do have it all completely decked out. We've got a little side door here that leads out to the garden, and a little seating area here next to these trees with a beautiful, beautiful sunset out this side. If we go upstairs, this is a fully ready survival base, or it could be. You'll notice I do have everything up here. We've got our little brewing station. I've got a water source back there for buckets. We've got our bed here for respawning. You can still see through the windows, and this is a level 30 enchantment setup. There we go. Nice little sunset to end this little segment before Maddie sleeps. But I really hope that you folks are liking the mega build style of this episode and everything that I'm getting into. We're just going to keep moving down the hill, and we're going to do this house now. So I really hope you like this time lapse, and I will make sure that I'm actually recording this time. Alrighty, everybody. I hope you liked that little time lapse I did there. Sorry, I kind of messed up the camera. I had it all set up, and then had a little bit of a snafu. I must have bumped into the mouse or something, and it kind of knocked it askew. I decided to leave it in because it's still a pretty decent little time lapse, and you still get the idea of me putting the build together. Honestly, I can't believe I managed to build a mostly diorite house that I don't entirely hate. It does have some calcite and some polished diorite thrown in there, and you'll notice in the time lapse I used brick, but you'll notice here it's copper that I'm waiting for it to age. I did decide to switch out the brick for the copper here once I had it all completely built. And I kind of stood back and looked at it. Didn't really like the way the red brick looked with the dark oak and then the birch and diorite. I thought it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was very jarring for me. It was too much. So I decided to go with the aged oxidized copper. Geez, these new blocks, they're tongue twisters. This is not fully oxidized copper. It's mostly oxidized copper, but yeah, this one here is gonna stay the like mildly weathered copper or whatever it's called. I have no idea. I have no idea what these blocks are called. I know they have big fancy formal names. It's falling down off cliffs now. Yeah, I really like how this came out. But instead of just staring through the windows, let's take a look at the interior. Alrighty, everybody. So here we are inside the diorite house. I had a little more room to work with in here. So the interior is a little bit more fleshed out than the last two were. Unfortunately, this one will probably be one of the last houses we build in this little area that has the work stations, because the closer we get to the iron farm, we really do need to be careful. I do have them all linked, and I've traded with all of them, so they're set up, but there's still always that chance. Bedrock villagers are notoriously difficult to work with, so I would rather not put, I'd rather just not put work blocks close to them, because then I don't have to worry about them trying to link to job blocks that aren't theirs and then accidentally breaking my iron farm, and then I have to go to Cooper and say, hey Cooper, can you come help me? I'm a dummy and I accidentally broke my iron farm. So we're just gonna, I can see it all in my head, so we're gonna avoid that. Up here on the second floor, I'm a little out of my wheelhouse with these, I have to say. I wanted to do fleshed out interiors. I decided to use honey blocks up here on the second floor. As I start to use less job blocks, I'm going to start trying to kind of push myself creatively. I have barrels up here in the ceiling. The looms, as you see there, that's one of my favorite, is using the looms to make them look like empty bookshelves, because it's chef's kiss, I swear. It gives it a very nice touch. I've got some paintings here on the wall. Got some paintings over here with some potted plants. Some little candles there adding some ambiance. Got some banners here as like a divider. And then in here, you'll notice a theme with this build. I've got funky wallpaper on the second floor. I decided to use kelp blocks in here. I've seen some other content creators do this. I've seen some other folks in Facebook groups do this and some of my friends, and I decided to try my hand at it, and I don't entirely hate it. I kind of like how these blocks, this one and the honeycomb, I like how they look as wallpaper textures. You'll notice I do have some wool here. This is where I would have beds. Again, if we weren't so dang close to the iron farm, these would be beds here. And then a bed out here as well. This video hasn't necessarily taken a whole lot longer, because usually it takes me about 4 or 5 days to put the videos together, like do all the stuff in-game, and then edit it all together. But I'm trying to put a lot more time and effort into these, because I really do want to show you folks what I'm up to and give you a glimpse into the madness that is my mind and how I do interiors or how I build, and really hope you folks are liking it. But rather than keep on rambling, like I said at the beginning of the video, I didn't forget, I promise, is we're gonna fly back over here, and then through the magic of editing, I'm going to finish off our little campsite here, and we'll talk about what I did here in just a flash. And voila, here we are, all finished. I really like how this came out. It's inspired by Scar's little mini base from season 7, when him and Mumbo swapped bases, and he built like a little tent on top of Mumbo's like ancient ruins with the golden heart. It's a little bit bigger than Scar's, because I wanted to give it a little bit more space. I really like how this turned out. As you can see, it's a little tight, so it's hard to get good angles to show you folks. Okay, riddle me this. It'll let me place this stone cutter like this, and I'm pretty sure it's because it's connecting to one of these blocks, but it'll let me put this under here. I really just want to be able to place flower pots on trapdoors so I can not have to use stairs or slabs when I want to do something pretty like this. Yeah, this has tons of storage. I've got barrels all over the freaking place. Got trapdoors and slabs on the floor. We've got carpeting here for around our bed, because we want it to be a little cozy for the, you know, make-believe villager that might be living in this little rustic tent. As you saw here along the side, we've got some food here, and then we've got hay bales and a composter in the back. Little chimney poking out the back here with a little flower pot there on top. I love using those as little accents if I'm doing a small little fireplace like that. It's always fun. Got our little finished camping area over here. But yeah, I really hope you folks dug this episode. I apologize that it's been a few weeks since I was able to get an episode out. There are reasons for that. I'm not gonna really go into them here. I'll be releasing a second video that'll go a little bit more into detail about what's been going on in my personal life. So this episode being a little bit longer and being a lot more building intensive is kind of my way of saying thank you to those that have reached out to me privately, and also those that have just watched my content in general or been interested in it. I really do appreciate all of you folks. Moving forward, my episodes will be coming out every other Sunday. I'm going to try and work on them regularly in between working at the new job I've gotten. They are going to be more along these styles. They're going to range between 20 to 30 minutes long, and they're going to have, 1 to 2 time lapses, maybe 3 in per episode. Right now, I have 11 plots laid out for 11 different buildings that we're going to be doing. In this episode, we knocked out 4 of them. It's been about 5 days of building in between everything else in my IRL life. It's been a lot of fun. It's taken my mind off of the stress of everything else, of getting into a new routine with work and yada yada. So it's been nice to have this creative outlet to really kind of bear down and use all of that extra energy in stuff that I'm creatively passionate about. But at this point, I'm just rambling. But yeah. Also, shout out to Mac for the spore blossoms. He hooked me up with a couple of them. So thank you very much, Mac. I really do appreciate that. And also, just in general, I really appreciate everyone that's checked out my videos or that's interested in what I'm doing here. Moving forward, you're going to get a lot more insight into the madness in my mind. I really appreciate all you folks. I hope you really enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave a like below. If you want to see more of this stuff, consider subscribing. But yeah, either way, I really hope everyone has a wonderful day and a beautiful tomorrow. And we'll see you in the next video, folks. Later.